Hello and welcome back to my channel, welcome to my greenhouse. Today we've got a bit of a project going on and it all is to do with these chilli plants and peppers plants that I've been growing over the summer. Some of them are ones that I've overwintered, some of them are the ones that I grew this year. They're all doing absolutely fantastic. Basket of Fire is looking absolutely amazing and these are already starting to get nice and red and their colour is starting to change. This is one I overwintered. I've just actually repotted it because the pot it was in, which was one this size, had a huge weed in it. So the roots of this one were really small, but look, it's still done really well and these are looking really good. This is the hot wax. I've got some padron peppers here. I've got over here, I've got some California Wonder. I've got Sweet Ingrid over here. I'm not sure what these ones are. These were some of the ones that weren't labelled. But as you can see, the chilli and pepper plants in this greenhouse are doing really well. Now, what we needed to think of is when we go away. It's the summer, we're away quite a lot. We're going on holiday, we've got weekends away, things like that. So, went onto Amazon and we bought an automatic watering system. This was around £40. I think we paid $45.99 for it. It's now got a little bit of money off, so I think it's about £38. But anyway, this isn't a paid promotion. This is something we bought ourselves for the greenhouse. We're going to get this set up. We've got a water butt just outside the greenhouse. I don't know if you can see it just in this corner here. There's a water butt that collects water off of our garage. So we're going to connect that up to this to make sure that these chilli and pepper plants are watered whether we're here or whether we're not. So let's get this box opened. We've got the watering system here and it looks like it's got the tubing to take the water from the water butt to the plants, and it's got loads of other fixtures and fittings on there. So I'm going to get all of this out and I'm going to get it all put together. By here there looks like there's some sort of controller for watering time and how much you want it watered. So I'm going to get all of this out and I'll probably put it on here. We might have to move our lovely cat. We'll get it all laid out and then I'm going to get it all put together. So I've got the instructions here. You can see from the instructions on the diagram there exactly where the parts go. So this, for example, this little picture here would be my water butt. And that is where this is going to go. So I've got this part here and that is going to go into the water butt and that's where the water is going to come from. It's going to go into this pipe. This pipe's a little bit bigger and that's going to bring it out of the water butt. And then here I've got the solar panel which powers the watering system. I've got the controller here and then these are what the water's going to go into the plant pots. So if you can see, these have got tiny little holes in them. These will go into the soil in the plant pots and be fed by this tubing. So it's going to come out of the water butt, through this pipe, into these pipes, and then into the containers with the chilli and pepper plants in them. So I've got my solar panel and the bracket. I'm going to put this bracket on the solar panel like this little screw, and then this can be mounted just by the water butt to make sure it gets lots of sun to power the watering system. So there's one side. There you go, that is ready now to be mounted. It's going to get loads of sun. So we've just worked out where we're going to put it to get the most sunshine, and now Vince is going to attach it to the fence. So now the solar panel is attached up here. We need to get the control panel attached to the fence so that we can control when the watering is going to happen. So this is the control panel, and it is waterproof, and it just needs to be somewhere that we can get access to it easily so that we can monitor when things are being watered. So this is attached to the control panel, and this is what makes the water system be on or off. So this goes into the water, and when there's water in there, it will work. When there's no water, this will stop the system from working. So this whole thing, I'm just going to put straight into the water bucket, and that will stay in there, and this will be what makes sure it's on or off, because it will tell if there's water in the bucket or not. I've got the filter which is going to go into the water, and that's going to what the water's going to flow through into the pipe. I've got the pipe, and I've got a little clip here that will keep this on. So I'm going to put this on the pipe, make sure that's right on, and then this clip I'm just going to bring up, and that just holds that tightly in place. So that is now on. That's then going to go into the water. So I'm just going to lower this down, but I'm only going to lower it down about halfway because there's probably a lot of sediment in this water butt. So I don't want it right at the bottom. I just want it about halfway. So now I'm going to attach that tube that I just put into the water. The other end is going to go on the control panel. So that's nice and tight on there. And I just put that clip over it, and that is nice and secure on there now. Now I've got the tube that is going to go from this into the greenhouse. So this is going to take the water to the chilli and pepper plants, and I'm just going to put that onto the control panel. Now that goes inside. I'm going to get that in as far as I can. So I've got a pipe going in, and I've got a pipe coming out. So because this control panel is higher up than the chilies and the peppers, when this is threaded through, this will be going down. We need to put this anti-siphon onto this tubing. So I'm just going to cut just about here. So this bit was really hard to get on. The tubes are so small compared to the size of what you've got to get it onto. So we just dipped it in some hot water just to loosen it a little bit, and they did squeeze on, but it was a struggle. That is now done. I'm going to connect it back into here. And now this tube can be fed into the greenhouse. We've got a tiny little hole in between the glass and the frame, just here. So we are just threading that into that little gap. So I've got the tube inside the greenhouse now. I have got my little individual drips that are going to be going into the pot. So the pipe is going to be cut at each pot, and one of these drips is going to be put into the pot, and then that will water each individual pot. If I was doing seedlings, for example, I could just put trays down, and the pipe would just go into those trays, and then they could just be bottom watered. So it's quite versatile. Me personally, what I'm doing this for, I'm going to put them in each pot so that each pot is then watered, especially in hot weather when we're not here. We're going to know that these will be watered no matter what. So the water's going to be coming through this long pipe, and then it's going to be diverted at each pot. And I've just made up one of these just to show you how that's going to work. So imagine this is the long pipe that I was just holding. This is the long tubing that's coming from the water butt. And this is going to be what's going into each plant. So the water will come down the big pipes, it's going to come down here, down this tubing, and then it will come down each individual piece of tubing that's coming off of that, and then into the plant using these, which will go into the plants like this. So the first 3 plants are now got the drip inside the pots. This is a lovely little diagram that we've got here. So this is the main line, and then on each of the trays that we've got down there, we've got 3 plants. We've got 4 at the end, but you can see that it's just coming down off the main pipe, and then it is drip feeding those particular trays. So first 3 are done. I'm now going to take the main pipe here, and we're going to cut that, and then I'm going to have it coming out here to water these 3 plants. So now Vince is going to carry on with the next 2 trays behind me. And our supervisor has had enough of supervising, and he's having a nice little nap. So we've got the main line coming from the corner of the greenhouse. It's coming all the way down the back, and then here it's teeing off, and it is going into this plant, and this plant at the front. And we've got exactly the same over in this corner. It's coming off the main line, and then it's going into these 3 plants. And we're going to do exactly the same at this end. Behind me, every single chili plant and every single pepper plant has got some drip tube in its individual pot. I'm now going to go outside to the controller and set the timer. So I'm going to turn it on. There's a leak. So straight away we can see that there's a leak. So we're going to try and push that on. I'm just going to go and see if there's any more leaks inside. So I'm just going to make sure these are all pushed on, because some of them were leaking just here. I'm just going to make sure that's nice and tight. And just check that everywhere else. No, that was all okay, the rest of it's okay. So we're just tightening where that leak was near the control panel as much as we possibly can. And this is the time now to check for all the leaks and things like that. And then we're going to set the timer for 6 minutes, to water for 6 minutes every 12 hours. It's 3 hours, 6 hours. Right, so that's 12 hours. And then watering time. Oh no, it's still doing that. Okay, we're just going to take this bit off because it is really leaking from that bit, and just see if that actually makes any difference. So we're going to have a little bit of a test now. So it's definitely not leaking from here now. We're just going to go and check inside and see that it's coming through. So what we're doing, we're just going to each one now and check in that the water's actually coming through. So as you can see, the water is coming off of that line, and we're just going through and checking each one. So they all seem to be working. The water's coming out of every single drip. So what we had on there from the instructions, if the control panel is higher than where the drip's going, it doesn't seem like we needed that, which is really good because it was leaking from that part. So a bit of trial and error there, but it seems to be working now. So what we've done is we've set it up to drip for 6 minutes every 12 hours. And what we'll do over the next couple of days is just monitor these and make sure that that is the right amount of water for them, and that it's enough water. If it's too much, we will adjust it accordingly. But at the moment, it's all trial and error. And at the moment, I'm really pleased with it. I think that didn't take long to set up at all, and it's quite simple to use. The timer is on. So like I say, we're gonna keep monitoring it, and I will let you know how it goes in future videos. But this has been really exciting to do. It's something we probably should have done a long time ago, but it's now done. Thank you so much for watching us today, and I'll see you again soon.